Now, I'd like to introduce you to the CEO of Forward, Carl Baumann, who will kick off the webinar.
Excellent. Thank you. Thanks for joining. This webinar today is from Forward 365. We're the most advanced Office 365 management suite. Today we have some special speakers, of course. We have Nathan O'Brien, who's our Microsoft MVP, as well as Carl Sand, our product manager, and of course Val Vasquez. Val is our technical architect here in North America. And again, my name is Carl Baumann. I'm the CEO of Forward 365. And today we're going to talk quite a bit about the newly released adoption pack from Power BI. And we're going to show you some features and functionalities of what was released by Microsoft, talk a bit about what it actually does, how it does it, and of course, how Forward can also enhance what Microsoft has released. Before getting into that, I just wanted to give a quick, brief overview of Forward 365, what the product is, why we're actually in this particular market, and then I'll hand it over to Nathan and Carl to start going through what's new for Microsoft in the adoption pack. Just a bit about Forward. We've actually been in business for 15 years, originally as a Microsoft integrator. We built products specifically around Microsoft technologies. We then morphed into a managed service provider in 2006, and from the from our service abilities and from our managed service abilities, we started building the product that we're going to talk a little bit later today, which is Forward 365. Forward 365 has been in the market for about 6 years at this point. We have over 2 million seats on the platform. A lot of very large enterprise customers, also a lot of state and local agencies. Now, so what exactly has our client base been telling us about why a Forward 365 and even an adoption pack from Microsoft is needed? Well, first and foremost, we hear quite a bit about customers, large customers, coming to us asking for adoption help. I think it goes without saying that Microsoft has done a very good job of getting Office 365 out into the market. In fact, about a month ago, Microsoft did release a new press release stating that they have 100 million users actually on Office 365 today. The large customers that we have been working with have come to us and said, that's great, we're now on Exchange Online, but we're having a pretty difficult time getting our end users using all of the other workloads, particularly SharePoint and Skype for Business, and even OneDrive for that matter. Can you actually help us identify who these laggard users are, and is there a way to enable some type of workflow once you've identified these users to get the right content in their hands to drive behavior around usage? I think any company on the phone here today wants to make sure they're getting full value out of all the workloads that you're paying Microsoft for, or if you're what your customers are paying Microsoft for, and that's one of the reasons Forward 365 exists. Secondly, we hear a lot about licensing management, especially at this time of the year. It's the end of Microsoft's fiscal. A lot of organizations are actually going through their renewal process with Microsoft, and we get a lot of questions at that point about optimizing Office 365 licensing. Everything from a K1 or a G1 all the way up to an E5, right? Are you able to tell us, are we optimized in terms of licensing? Do we have any are we oversubscribed? Do we have any licenses laying around that are unassigned that we could take advantage of? Are we actually oversubscribed? Do we have too many licenses compared to our our subscription with Microsoft? And then we hear quite a bit about, okay, now that we know that we have the right licensing, is there a way to actually assign it to specific business units to really ensure that some business units aren't doing what we call a land grab and grabbing extra licenses, versus being assigned the proper licensing. The third point on what we've been hearing quite a bit about is around improving admin efficiency. Moving from the on-prem world into, the cloud-based world of Microsoft, the rules have changed between an admin and a global admin. And we hear a lot about, are you able to actually push out rights? using role-based access control? Can you maintain the security, but also making sure that my global admin does not turn into a bottleneck? And then finally, we hear a lot about real-time monitoring, reporting, and of course alerting. Is there a way to take my team today that's managing Office 365 and making them proactive versus reactive? Right now, my team is really drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot of requests to, do all kinds of tasks from like delegation all the way down to provisioning that I'd really like to parse out. And also, there's a lot of access points now at Office 365. Do I have users who are sending out, various links within SharePoint or OneDrive that I may not know about? Is there any holes in the environment that I need to be notified real time to close up to ensure security and compliance? And effectively, that's what we built. So Forward 365 is the only management solution on the market that handles reporting, management, Office 365 workload adoption, and of course, real-time alerting and auditing. So what we'll talk about later, after we have Nathan and Carl walk through what's here with the adoption pack, is showing you a bit of our 145 reports that we have covering all workloads and Azure. Not only do we have these reports, what we've actually done is taken that next step and created workflow around these reports that are tied to management actions. So you're not getting just a reporting product with Forward 365 that you would potentially get with various elements within Microsoft Power BI. You're also getting the ability to get that level of proactiveness tied to it because you're also getting management actions to fix the issues that the reports are identifying. So at this point, I would like to hand this over to both Carl and Nathan to have the discussion around what is included with the Office 365 adoption pack, talk about some of the features, run that actual demonstration for you, and then talk about how Forward could extend those features. So Carl and Nathan, without further ado.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. So this is Carl Sand. I'm the product marketing manager for Forward 365. And Nathan, is your microphone live?
Yeah, it is.
All right, go ahead and introduce yourself and we'll get going.
Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, I guess, as is time zone appropriate. I am Nathan O'Brien. My day job, I'm a consultant. I do mostly Office 365 Exchange sort of deployments for all kinds of customers. I've been working with Office 365 since spring, I guess, 2011 when it was first available. I am an Exchange MCSM, and I am just about, I believe on July 1st, I will be a 4-time MVP for Office servers and services and Office 365 before that.
Woohoo, congrats. It's in 4 years, man.
Thank you.
You got some stripes on your shoulder. So, Nathan, I assume you recognize the picture of this guy that's on the screen right now?
I have seen him before. Makes more than I do.
Read from Satya's quote there. The 100 million users that they have deployed in Office 365, they want to help all those customers get the most value out of everything they're licensed for. That's why they came up with the Adoption Content Pack. They want to broaden the visibility of who's using what and how they're using Office 365 so that administrators can make better decisions on how to drive adoption and go after targeted users to help them by job role to get them the right training, the right education so they can start to, leverage those capabilities in Office 365 that they haven't done in the past. So go ahead through the next couple slides, Val. These are screenshots of the content pack. Now we're going to show a live demo coming up. Nathan and Val are going to walk through the live screens and kind of show you the interactive capabilities in these reports. Now it uses Power BI as the front end. So these reports are interactive. You can drill down on stuff. You can toggle between different view panels, data sets, and it's going to change what's shown on the screen there. And if you guys are familiar with Power BI at all, it's a very nice interface for doing reporting. So go to the next couple screens, Val. Yeah, there's a little bit about the adoption overview, and you can see in the middle left there that you can choose from available checklist options how the report is going to show the information that you want to see. So it's very interactive, which is nice about the Power BI front end. And go to the next slide, Val. And here's a little bit more of a drill down on specifics around Exchange usage. So the next slide, Val, there's really 4 key pillars that they focused on when they created this first version of the Adoption Content Pack. Now, number 1, of course, is adoption. They want to track all and report on the usage of all the different Office 365 workloads, not just Exchange. But they also went into a couple other really nice areas to show you how the users were utilizing those capabilities. So how are they using Office 365 to communicate? Not just in email, but are they sharing information through Yammer? Are they doing Skype, text back and forth, as well as voice calls? And then how are they collaborating? How are they sharing information either on OneDrive or SharePoint for files? And then the advanced stuff is, are they doing activations of the more advanced features and functionality in the Pro Plus set and Visio? And it's very easy to get the Adoption Content Pack installed, as Nathan will talk about. You don't have to pay for anything if you have enterprise licenses, which most everybody does. And you don't even have to have Power BI. You can use the free version of it to get it set up. And it's really just a 3-step process to get it installed and start reading your information, brings in the data for a year, aggregates it, and then it rolls on over that. And you have very detailed information for every 6 months. And I think it updates it every, is it 36 hours, Nathan? I know it's like just a little longer than a day when it does the refresh of the data.
I was thinking it's slightly over a day. I don't know a specific number. It feels like it varies a little bit, but yeah, right in that 24 to 36 sort of hour range is when you can expect to see updates.
Cool. So go to the next slide, Val. We're going to kick off and actually go into the demonstration now of the Adoption Content Pack. And we have this turned on for our production environment. So you guys are going to be able to see live information from Forward 365 and all the users that we have in there. So this isn't dummy data. This is the real kind of stuff. So I'll hand it over to Nathan. He can walk through some cool stuff for the next 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So what we wanted to do here, Val and myself, kind of go through and show you how this user adoption pack for Office 365 Power BI really works. I do want to, before we get started, I want to say that Val and I haven't really rehearsed this. We intentionally wanted to do this kind of live and fresh for you all. You know, there's benefits to that in that I think it makes it more interesting and gives you guys a better view of what's really going on here instead of showing you a canned kind of, I mean, we could have easily pre-produced a video of us going through this and make it all very sanitary. But, you know, sometimes I feel like that can give you kind of a deceptive view of this. So if anybody has any questions as Val and I are going through this, feel free to put them in the chat there. I will continue to look at those as we talk about this stuff, and hopefully we can, you know, integrate your questions and feedback into this real time as Val and I look at this. So good morning, Val.
Good morning.
Or I guess good evening for you. You're in Italy?
I'm in Chicago, actually.
Oh, you're in Chicago. Okay. Well, then good afternoon. 2 hours. Yeah. All right. So here we have the Office 365, the adoption overview of our Power BI information that comes up first at the start. So I guess my first question for you, Val, is in a real general sort of way, what information am I looking for when I'm going into this adoption pack?
Generally, you're trying to find, of the employees that are present and active within the company, where is their usage focused in on? Are they simply making use of Exchange, for example, or are they also leveraging some of the other facilities within Office 365? And the main goal that we're really trying to drive at is to retain or attain the full value of the investment that we've made in Office 365, because so often we perform the migration to the cloud, and then at that point where we're not necessarily, let me just try to mute this out, sorry about that, guys. we're not necessarily making use of everything that we've paid for. So obviously that doesn't make a lot of sense from a financial perspective. So we're seeking to make sure that everybody is making appropriate use of the services that we've acquired.
Outstanding. So really, who we're targeting with this this demonstration is maybe your CIO or your IT director sort of level person who's working for an organization that has enterprise sort of level, maybe 5,000, maybe 10,000 sort of users. They've moved into Office 365. They're paying every month for, we'll say, 10,000 users with probably various levels of licensing, E3 and E5, maybe some K1 in there, different levels of licensing. And those people, they need to ensure that the money that they're spending is being used appropriately. So, the sales department has 700 licenses that's costing 700 times $25 a month for E3, whatever that is, a month. And we want to help that person to determine if their money is being spent well, if they could move down to lower licenses, if they could move those licenses around, or maybe move up to higher levels of licenses, correct?
Exactly right.
Outstanding. Okay, so right here on this screen, I guess front and center, kind of there at the top of the middle, I see an adoption overview. This looks like it gives me kind of a historical view of month by month number of users that are in Office 365 and the number of users that are active. I can see right there across the top, it's a pretty clear labeling of those different colors. We have sort of the gray. I'm colorblind, so I might be a little bit off on these colors. But the gray for enabled users, active users, what is that? Monthly returning users, first-time users, and cumulative active users. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
So I guess most of those are pretty straightforward, but what's that fifth one, that cumulative active users mean?
That's a notion similar to the month-over-month returning users. So under cumulative active users, we're seeing the trend of what my usage has been over the last 30 days or 90 days, as the case may be. So it's kind of like a moving average.
Okay, very good. Next to that box, just a little to the left, I see a list of select a product to see, I guess it says information for. Currently we have Office 365 selected, but how would it change my view if I just wanted to see, say, Exchange?
So I can click into Exchange on this view here, and then we're going to see how these numbers modify. So now on the enabled users, as we're looking specifically at Exchange, we're seeing objects with a mailbox presently. So 130 total enabled users with a mailbox versus 145, 153, etc., just depending on what was active at that particular point in time.
Okay, and all that information is there and available for each of those, what is it, about 6 or 7 different products, Exchange, Office 365, OneDrive, all down the list. I can get access to all that information instantly?
For the most part, yeah. So, within the specifics of the refresh cycle, so here we have Yammer, and at Forward we have about 110 employees or so. So we have a decent amount of Yammer usage. I would say that it's above the industry average from what we've seen across our 2 million seats for sure.
Yeah, I tend to agree. It says, right below that, May 2017, about 46% of your people are using Yammer. So it's probably pretty high. I can't say I'm a huge Yammer fan myself, but it's good to be able to get that information for each of these products. All right. So with this, I can obviously see as a general, whole overview, percentage of users that are using each of these products. But can I go into, let's say specifically Exchange, and get more detailed information about who is and isn't using their licensing in that product?
Generally, the answer is yes. So along the bottom here, we have these various tabs that allow us to drive into a specific workload. So here I've got Exchange and Skype and Yammer very specifically. So I can click into the Exchange usage tab, And now I'm going to gain an Exchange-centric view of the information that's available.
Outstanding. Looks like there's a bunch more information here. So let's look at this just for a couple minutes. Looks like we can see, we have first that kind of speedometer looking thing, sort of at the top and a little to the left that says in May 2017, looks like we had 109 of 135 users are actively using Exchange Online. That correct?
Yeah, that's also my read on that.
Yeah, so we're a little bit over 80% usage, which is probably pretty good. You can assume that at any given month you're going to have people that are out for vacations or that sort of thing, but 80% usage.
Test mailboxes, so that skews our numbers quite a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving over then, to the next box, we have enabled users versus active users. I can sort of see kind of the trend over last year that you had, at a couple points, it looks like you had a bunch of extra enabled mailboxes, but your actual using users seems to be fairly steady, right around that 100 users mark, up to about 110 or so. So very good. Next one over there is activity per user and percentage of change. So what's that mean?
That's looking at the specific metrics. So like there, we've got the number of mails sent or received or read, as the case may be. So it allows me to see what people are doing in terms of the resource usage.
Okay, so it gives me kind of a view that not only are people using my Exchange Online, resources here, but I can get an idea of how much they're using it too, how many emails are being sent and received, that sort of thing, on a sort of company-wide basis and how that's all going. Interesting. So in here, again, I can see all this, again, this is sort of generalized data. Can I get in and see if, we'll pick on Carl Sand. Is Carl using his email? Is that, information available here?
We can drill into the Exchange user activity, and that's going to give us by person an overview of what it is that they're doing. So I don't know where Carl specifically is here. I guess I can sort by name. Let's see if that helps. And go down to the K's. JK, there he is.
There. I'm a user.
Here we've got Carl, and I can't drill into him per se, but I do have his high-level information here.
Cool. So we could see that, how many emails Carl sends, 171 or so it looks like there, and receives and on a monthly basis. That's good information and could potentially be useful. So not that I'm generally, in most cases, I'm not going to be interested in, specifically what Carl's doing, but maybe I want to look for who's not using Exchange. Can I sort this list and see who's not sending any email, for instance?
Let's see here. I believe that you can. I just got to get to the right screen for that.
Yeah, total. So can we sort on that total email sent column?
Total emails
yeah,
sent.
Right there. There you go. And now you can see at the top there, CIO sends a lot of email, or CEO sends a lot of emails. And then we'll probably pull down to the bottom and see there's a list of people that send no email. So, that might be a list of people that you'd want to parse, look at a little bit more closely and see why specifically these people aren't using their license at all.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, that looks certainly like it could be good information, but a lot of the time, if I'm an IT director or that sort of thing, and I'm using these E3 licenses or E5 licenses, I'm paying for a lot more than just Exchange. Everybody uses email. Getting people to use email is not that big of a challenge. But what about things like OneDrive for Business or SharePoint? All that information is also in here?
Yeah, so again, I can come along this bottom tab and then select out that particular view. So here we are looking at OneDrive user activity.
Outstanding. Okay, so then even with that information, let's take it up, another notch of difficulty. If I'm, again, that CIO or I'm IT director, I want to see how these licenses are being used, and I want to start to drive adoption. I want to, identify users who aren't using this. Can we get this information for who's not using, say, SharePoint and then Skype for Business? Can we collate this information in a way that I can identify a list of users that aren't using two products?
That should be available here in the, I've seen that before, user adoption by product. So here I've got some of that information available. So this is showing me a matrix of users that are active within these particular areas. So I might say users that are using Exchange, SharePoint, and OneDrive for Business. And these are the 4 users within the organization that are making use of those. And I might say, well, show me those people that are using Exchange, Skype, and OneDrive all together, et cetera, et cetera.
Outstanding. So I also see by department there. So these are departments that are defined where. How, obviously, maybe my company doesn't have a dev department. I run a manufacturing company. How are those departments defined?
So this is going to be based upon the information that you have present in Microsoft Azure AD, which more often than not is synchronized from your on-premise environment. So it's really important to have accurate metadata in your AD if you want to get the full value of what the reports can offer, because otherwise you're looking at unstructured data, and that's of limited value to most people, especially as organizations scale up in terms of size.
Yeah, I think it's good to point out that my on-premises Active Directory that I've had for 17 years or whatever, and information that I've been running in there is very easy with Azure Active Directory Connect to then sync into Azure Active Directory and then becomes available for products like this with really no additional work on my part. Outstanding. All right, so I think I've got a pretty good view of how this is all working there. Val, is there any other sort of features of this that I'm missing that we should really be pointing out?
I think you've captured the high level. The important thing to know and understand is that all of the major workloads are represented on these tabs here below, just depending on the thing that you're looking for. Office activation tends to be of interest as this is one of the key differences in the core pricing of Office 365. If you're not deploying Office Pro Plus, there may definitely be less expensive ways for you to allocate your Office 365 dollars that would still give you the full value, but without that. And that's really just going to depend on your EA agreement in terms of whether or not you have access to Office 2016. But again, this is one that our clients are usually very interested in terms of how well deployed are they with Office Pro Plus inside of the organization.
Outstanding. Definitely looks like really good information there. Thank you much for that. And with that, I'll go back to Carl, and we'll continue on with the webcast.
Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, one thing that I was looking for as you guys were walking through that was information on the licensing. I know, Nathan, you were talking about, different license models for customers, E3, E5, E1. I didn't really see that information in the adoption content pack. Is it hidden somewhere inside there? Ah, there's the list of licenses.
Yeah, so I just pulled that up.
Good. Very nice, colorful reports, too. I really like Power BI. So switch over to the slides real quick, Val.
Will do.
What we wanted to move on to next was how the Forward 365 solution helps advance or extend the capabilities in the adoption content pack. I mean, the adoption content pack, as everybody saw in the demonstration, there provides some great information and actual user lists and that you can slice and dice by department and different attributes that come through in Azure AD. But how do we take that information and actually move it forward to help you drive adoption and do training? That's where the Forward 365 solution comes in. So
yeah, and that's very accurate. Okay. Should I hop into the demo, or do you have some more content here?
No, I think there's just one more slide that showcases the two major feature sets that we do to help actually drive usage adoption. So as you guys saw there and heard from Nathan in the overview and demonstration of the adoption content pack, it's a reporting tool. So it provides you all the information available from the usage reports in very nice graphical layout that's interactive with Power BI. But it stops short of letting you do anything with it outside of just viewing who's using what and who's not using what. Now, if you really want to help drive adoption to target those specific users by job title that aren't using OneDrive or by workload for SharePoint or Skype and get specialized communications with links to training out to them, it really pushes that back on the manual effort of the enterprise IT and support group, which those guys, as you know, some of you are probably in that role. You have a million different things going on and wearing 3 or 4 different hats during the day. So you need help to actually do those communications and drive usage adoption and training out to those end users. And that's where the Forward 365 solution comes in. Val, is there anything specific you want to point out to on this slide before you jump into the demo?
No, I think this is a great overview of our capabilities here.
Cool. All right. Now it's your turn to show them how it works.
Great. So inside of Forward 365, let's see here, we have the ability, we collect a tremendous amount of data around the environment. We just organize it differently than how it is placed in the adoption pack in Power BI. The fact of the matter is that we're picking up the same raw information and then expressing it differently. And one of the things that we think we do really well at Forward is put this information together in a business-centric fashion that allows us to make use of it. And one of the ways that we do that is through this drive functionality within the product. What this really focuses in on is being able to take the output of any given report and turn it into the input for a training exercise or an adoption campaign that's going to help move the needle within the organization. So here we are once again looking at the production data from the Forward environment. We've got 37% of our people using OneDrive and 41% using Yammer. And you might make note of this and then say, gee, if you're a sales-focused organization, as we are at Forward, why don't we have a greater number of employees using OneDrive where perhaps instead of sending out embedded content inside of an email, we could be sending out links to our various clients and prospects, etc. So with this in mind, I might choose to create a new campaign around this exact premise. So I can click on Drive, Create Campaign, and this allows me to create a filtered report based upon any of the attribute information that I'm interested in getting. So I might say, I'd like to see the OneDrive usage of these particular employees. I'd also, let me remove this one and that one. I'd also like to see the mailbox size of these employees. So I might double click there. And then I might decide to add in the user principal name of our employees and finally the department that they are a member of. So I'm just missing here the total mailbox size. Great. Once you've added in all of those attributes that you care about with respect to the adoption, you simply click Generate, and then I have a report of all of the objects that are present within my environment. And for my particular campaign, I'm seeking to target people in the sales department. Because again, these are the ones that are sending out all of these external emails with attachments, etc. So I might type in for my department, sales, and now I get back 10 objects that 10 salespeople that I have within the company with that defined. And of course, I want to now focus in on those folks that either have very large mailboxes or perhaps very small OneDrive usage. So I can come over here, define a filter, and say where I want to show everybody where their usage is less than 10 megabytes, and we're going to drop from 10 total users to only these 3 users here. And these are good candidates for me to target with this campaign. So I might now say, okay, let's create a campaign, and what the product effectively does is it takes the output of this report and turns it into the input of this marketing campaign. So I can then, or adoption campaign, I should say. So I give this campaign a name, Demo 88. I select the property which I am seeking to influence, which is their OneDrive usage. I wish for that to go up in order to register that as a successful event. So I select increment. I'm going to send that message out via email, and then I can define a template that is going to be a formatted email sent out to all of these employees. So here in this template that I previously created, I dropped in the OneDrive logo. It says, Dear display name, and this value will auto-resolve. We've noticed that you have not been making much use of your cloud storage service OneDrive for Business. Did you know that OneDrive for Business makes it easier to share large documents with your coworkers? Click on the video below to learn more, and we have an embed of that particular video. I give the message a subject, use more OneDrive, and then I would click Save. Upon clicking Save, anyone that is included as a match on the output of that previous report would receive this message. And if I shift over to my inbox, we can see an example of this very same message here delivered, where now it's resolved my name. It says, Dear Val, we've noticed you've not been making much use of OneDrive. Click on the video below to learn more. If I hover my mouse over the video, you'll notice that I have a very interesting looking URL associated with that. And effectively, this URL is a tracking token that allows us to see and detect which users have received this mail, which users have bothered to open the mail, so they've quote-unquote read it, and then which users have gone to the extra step of clicking on any of those embedded links. So this is kind of how we close the loop on the functionality of being able to track our user activity with respect to these campaigns and making sure that our message is being heard. Because if people are not getting to the point where the subject line entices them enough to open up the mail, then we've already lost. So using these tracking tokens in this real-time fashion allows us to find the messages that are resonating most with our people as we try to move their adoption rates. So once this message has been sent, naturally our users would want to click on those links and on those training videos, and then they would be presented with one of those particular videos. So here we are looking at this OneDrive video that was the subject of that particular content, that message that was sent out, and these employees would be able to then look at this content and learn about how they could use OneDrive more effectively. Here at the bottom of the screen, I have the ability to actually show the transcript for this narrative. And the really cool thing about this is not only is it just easier to follow along if I'm using the transcript in conjunction with the video, but these words are all indexed. So now I can come to my search engine and say, yeah, I learned a lot about OneDrive with this video, but now I'm wondering how to upload a document via SharePoint. So I can click on the magnifying glass, which is going to take me to the search index, and I can just type the words such as SharePoint upload, hit enter, and then it's going to search through all 2,400 videos and find those that match the context within the narration. So I might look at these particular results and say, no, Dynamics doesn't match, Excel isn't what I'm looking for, SharePoint sites. Let's open this one up. And then right here at the top, how to upload files to a document library. I would watch this video and then, of course, be now educated on this particular topic. Within the framework, I, as an end user, also have the ability to directly view all of the videos and navigate that structure that are present for us. And as you might expect, these 2,400 videos are broken down into a number of areas, rather logically in my opinion. So here we have the Office 2016 videos, the Office 365 core. So if I want to learn about Microsoft Teams or Outlook Online or Yammer, I can do so from any of these areas. We even have more exotic products available, such as Power BI and Dynamics CRM. So all of this content is here, and you're only ever 2 clicks away from the video. So I might want to learn about Sway, so I click once, and then I click a second time to see all of the videos under a particular topic. Once I've viewed a video, they are actually checked off, so I can see my particular progress. On my own, I can then turn around and show all of the videos that I've seen in my history. Now, as a counterpoint to this, there is also an administrative view that allows us to see all of the information regarding what our usage has been and whether or not videos are even available on screen. So, for example, I can turn off any of these particular segments and remove them from view. So here, if we're coming back to the user view, perhaps my users have no need to ever use Sway. It's just not relevant to our line of business, so I don't want that to be exposed. I can simply click on Sway. I can remove the visibility mark, so I can come here to visibility, uncheck that particular mark, click Save, and now within the user view, simply by refreshing, I can see that Sway has been removed. Also from the administrative console, I can actually turn around and then view all of the reports regarding my usage activity, so I can see who the leaders are, who's been watching most of the videos, which videos are most popular, as well as the learning path views. So I can click on Use Leaderboard here and show overall activity, and I've watched 28 videos, while Jessica, Carl, and Ivan have watched decidedly less. Now, going back to Forward 365, the way that we really close the loop on this, so to speak, is that from this interface, I can track everyone's activity within that particular campaign. So here we have a campaign that was sent out where only a single user, Ivan, was being tracked. I can see from this view that initially he had 719 megabytes of usage within OneDrive. This is his current utilization, so he actually has not uploaded any new material, unfortunately. But from the view, I can also see that the email has actually been delivered to him. The email was opened by him, and he went so far as to click on those links. Within the product, we can then see the full loop on this by coming down to the OneDrive specific reports and then see what our OneDrive usage over time has been. So we can see, are we having a positive effect and influence as we're moving in this upward direction to achieve 100% adoption of a particular workload. So what do you think about all of that, Carl?
That's very cool. Now, one thing I noticed when you're going through there were the learning paths option in the training. Would the training department for an organization be able to set up custom learning paths by job? role?
They would. So we can actually publish this information into your own SharePoint Online site, and that would allow you to use SharePoint groups in any combination to limit this out to particular views for users. So maybe, for example, you have users in the finance department, and you know that they want to be able to use Planner and Teams. So you can set up a specific portal that's going to show them those videos in particular, and then you might have someone in the legal group and they're interested in setting up SharePoint sites and create a customized view for them. Within the particular learning paths that you had mentioned, I can then add or remove any of these particular high-level curriculums. And that's really what Learning Path stands for. It's just a specific curriculum that's tied to a given type of focus. And within these particular learning paths, I can add or remove any particular videos as well very, very easily from the administrative portal. So I would be able to come here under the main studio page, click into SharePoint sites, and then decide which particular videos are available within a given learning path. So here are all of the defined learning paths. I can move these around and actually change the content that's included within the Managing Libraries learning path, for example.
Wow, very cool. And correct me if I'm wrong, there's the ability, this training platform, there's the ability to add custom videos in there. So say an organization has their own line of business applications that they've done training videos for. They can also add these into the learning library?
Correct. So you can have a one-stop shop for this information as far as the repository is concerned. So it can help you drive adoption of your Office 365 workloads, realizing that the value on that investment, as well as any other endeavors that are pushing your business forward.
Very cool. All right. Well, thank you, Val. That was a really good demonstration. In the interest of time, it looks like we only have about 10, 11 minutes left. Kirsten, I think it's probably best if we open it up for Q&A now, just so we leave plenty of time before the top of the hour in case people have to drop off.
Excellent. Yes, we actually got quite a few questions in the chat box today.
And I'll just
yeah, so folks out there, we have about time for 3 questions, and then every other question that wasn't addressed, we'll be sure to reach out to you directly after the webinar. All right, forward team. So the first question is, can you get really granular for specific Office product usage, Excel for instance, like you could with Office telemetry?
So the answer to that within Forward 365 is no. I won't be able to see which documents someone is opening up in Excel per se unless those documents are hosted in OneDrive. If the document is in OneDrive, I can actually see exactly what they're touching, who modified it, who it was shared with, et cetera, very detailed information, but not from the telemetry perspective. And I don't believe that information is included in the Power BI adoption pack either. It's just not what the focus of these particular offerings are.
A quick add-on to that answer, Val, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not just who you're sharing that information with inside your organization. Forward 365 also allows you to see whether it's shared outside with an external party, correct?
Exactly right. So I can find the fact that Val uploaded a video to OneDrive or SharePoint, that I then created a sharing link either anonymously or specifically to that person, and to cap it all off, determine whether or not that party actually viewed the content. And that's been really interesting for me because I send out videos all the time, again, to prospective clients and different content. And this allows me to see, is it falling on deaf ears, or do I need to do something different about getting this message across to different people?
Excellent. Thank you, Val. The second question, Is there a report that shows users that have been provisioned an Office 365 license versus activated users?
Absolutely. So I can come over here to one of the different views, click on Analyze, and that's all going to be included within our license reports. So I can view, and I have probably 4 different reports that can show this information, but I've got license by user, which is going to show which particular licenses were actually given out to an employee, and then I can see which have been activated. So for example, I can type in my own name here, I believe. So here we have those particular licenses that have been assigned to me, an E5 plan, Power BI Pro, EMS, and whether those licenses have actually been activated in any way. So here we can see the blanks or the null values, which means that they actually haven't been used by me even though I have them, versus the successes. And I could, of course, filter against these. So if I want to find everybody that's had Exchange Analytics provisioned and Skype, but not deskless, I can do that very easily. Or I can click onto my service usage report, and this is a similar view, except this is showing the last time that I used the facility. So I might come over here and say, show all users named Val, and the last time that they used these particular facilities again. So I can come over here, and the last time that I used Exchange was today, OneDrive was the 15th, SharePoint the 13th, Skype was yesterday. Total Office activations 2, etc., etc. And I can add in columns as needed in order to find additional attribute information that's relevant to the reporting.
Awesome. The third and final question before our Xbox drawing today is, can I create my own custom adoption campaign email messages within Forward 365?
Absolutely. So I would simply come to the main product menu, click Manage Templates, and then I would be able to create my own new template. So I can click Create or Edit New, or Edit Existing rather, and I'd be able to make whatever changes or modifications that I'd like. And what this also allows us to do is, again, if you have your own custom training content already, maybe you've made an investment in a different platform for training, to Forward 365, the application, it really doesn't matter what that external platform is because the value remains the same. Instead of having to send content out blindly to people, you can A, target specific communities and groups of users within your organization, and then track whether or not they're actually opening up these messages and viewing the content. And ultimately, you can use the built-in reporting within the product to say, over time, how have these values changed? And that's where like the OneDrive usage over time report came in that I showed earlier.
Wow, really cool, Val. I know Microsoft has a lot of free training videos they're starting to publish as well. So it's easy to create links to those inside the custom email communiques that go out?
Correct.
Nice.
All right, everybody, it's time for our our Xbox One drawing. So we have all the attendees, the current attendees in a hat right now, so we'll go ahead and pull one. Mark Roselli, congratulations. You won the Xbox One. Please type your email address into the chat window so we can reach out to you for shipping details.
Congratulations. So Carl Bauman, would you like to have any closing thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Val. And thanks, everybody, for attending today. We really appreciate your time. You can find more information online at forward365.com. Feel free to reach out to us at any time using the email address on the screen. So thanks again for your time, and we hope to see you again.